TPG Special Report: the 2019 list of best and worst U.S. airlines. Delta, Alaska, and Southwest Airlines rule the American skies, while budget carriers Frontier, Spirit, and Allegiant have some catching up to do, according to our third annual survey of the best and worst domestic airlines. How well an airline operates its business is not esoteric Avenue geek stuff. Whether an airline Delta was the big winner, with 92.7% of planes arriving on time, the largest network of lounges and cities served, and several other strong suits. The big loser? Budget airline The whole point of an airline is taking you from point A to point B, so airline performance represents the biggest chunk of our score, more than a quarter of it. Poring over data from the U.S. Department of Transportation. We looked at the percentage of flight delays and cancellations and the number of cities an airline serves. We also factored Hawaiian Airlines was the undisputed leader for on-time flights, with only 6.4% of flights delayed for 30 or fewer minutes. That compares to an airline's not going to get you to your sunny Florida vacation if it charges so much you can't afford to fly it. So another big consulting the airline's financials, their websites, data, and the monthly TPG valuations, we looked at the average value for the customer and those hefty extra airline fees. We also factored it was a mixed bag with no clear winner or loser in the affordability categories. The third portion of our ranking deals with comfort, and, in this category, airlines have a lot of control. It makes all the difference to passengers, whether you stroll into an out-of-town business meeting well rested and well fed, or stagger in after a sleepless flight with no food. Combing through the airline's websites and publicly available fleet data, we looked at average seat pitch and width in economy class. Wi-Fi, with its widely lauded free, ubiquitous, and excellent Fly-Fi Wi-Fi, ever-present seat back screens, generous seat pitch and relatively young fleet, JetBlue has the most comfortable cabins over the U.S. Not surprisingly, all the budget airlines Allegiant, Frontier, Spirit and even Southwest waited for last with bare-bones onboard offerings. Lost baggage and bad service are among the least likely things you'll deal with on a flight, but they're probably the most memorable. When these things do to reflect customer satisfaction, we looked at the number of passenger complaints against each airline filed with the . We also looked at Southwest has a reputation for great service and loyal customers, and it showed. Frontier. We weighted each factor separately before combining all our figures for an overall score, then ranked the airlines from 1 to 10. The full list of graphics by Wallace Cotton, Nick Ewan, and Alyssa Hawk contributed to this story.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.